Alright, so 6 weeks ago, I dropped my Enhanced Shaman Guide. There have been a few balance updates since then. It is still mostly accurate. I'm not going to completely remake the guide. However, there are some things that have been discovered that you can do differently now. So I will go over those in this video. If you want the full guide, just go and watch my previous video. It is still accurate. Alright, so the first big thing is that Witch Doctor's Wolf Bones, the Wolf CDR, was nerfed from 2 seconds to 1 second, which effectively doubled the CD of Feral Spirits. Now, this was a big nerf to the playstyle at the time. Now you will very rarely overlap wolves, and you only really overlap them at the end of a Lusted Ascendance. So what this means is you can be more relaxed with your usage of Feral Spirits. You do not have to press it strictly off cooldown anymore. There are some situations where you might hold it for a few globals, like potentially near the end of a pack, or maybe if you're in a pack and you feel like you won't have any damage for the next few seconds, then you can hold off on pressing it for a bit. Now, something else that they made it possible to do is they made it so that you can bank up 2 charges of Tempest at once. And this means that you're very unlikely to ever munch a Tempest, so you can be a lot more relaxed with your Tempest usage. For example, at the end of a pool, you can save up a stack or 2 to use in the next pool. If your Primordial Wave is coming up in a few seconds, then you can hold your Tempest for it and just send the Chain Lightning or whatever. Previously, you couldn't really do this because you could get like Awakening Storm procs and munch it, but that can't happen anymore. Now, something that is getting a lot more play now is Elemental Blast. There are 2 main reasons this spell is useful. So firstly, it's a small single target DPS gain and also a burst DPS gain. And 2, it is a spell that you can press while you're holding Tempest, because now you can hold Tempest a lot more. It is very minor. I do recommend to play with Tempest Strikes while learning. And the general rule for pressing Elemental Blast is that you use it as your single target spender when you have 4 wolves out and you do not have Tempest. And you do not want to press it outside of pure single target. If there are 2 targets, you just press Chain Lightning. Another talent that is seeing play is Hailstorm. Hailstorm is also a single target increase, but for an AoE loss. And this is just a bit of a toss-up. If you want more damage in single target, you go Hailstorm. You want more damage in AoE, you go Fire Nova. I personally prefer Fire Nova at the moment. Now, the build I recommend, I still recommend the original talent build with Tempest Strikes and Fire Nova. When you're experienced with the spec, I think you could go Elemental Blast, but I think you will do perfectly fine damage playing any combination of these 2 choice nodes. Now, another thing that has been discovered is that on single target, if you're spamming with Lightning Bolt, you want to spend at 5 Maelstrom as top priority. This is because a 5 Maelstrom Lightning Bolt will generate on average 2 Maelstrom from refunds, and that makes it your best builder, and you're building and spending in the same global. So if you're at 5 Maelstrom, you do not need to build up, you just want to press Lightning Bolts. Now, if you're pressing a Tempest or an Elemental Blast, then you still want to build higher, and is also not really relevant on AoE because you generate so much from Crash Lightning. So now I want to talk a little bit about Raid. I want to talk about talent builds in Raid. There are 3 builds in Raid. So first, there is the pure single target Storm build where you run Doom Winds. Now, in this build, you're taking every Storm Strike talent. You're pressing Storm Strike as your highest priority builder. You do press Spenders. You have Doom Winds. You just press that off cooldown. However, when you're in Ascendance, you want to press Doom Winds a few globals after your Ascendance. Now, the second build is a half-half Lava Lash AoE Elementalist build. This build runs AoE talents, but it runs Storm Swell in the hero tree. This is a good mix of AoE and single target for bosses like Ulgrax or Ansarek, where there are single target portions and there are AoE portions. And then the third build is the same build, but with Arc Discharge. This is run on Brood and Silken Court because Storm Swell has a low value on those bosses. Now, the rotations of these 2 Lava Lash builds are generally the same as the dungeon rotation, except you are always running Elemental Blast and Hailstorm in Raid. Now, in 2 weeks, patch 11.05 is coming out. There are a lot of changes coming. I'm not entirely sure how things will look, but I think Enhanced will be good still and probably better. I do think it is mostly buffs in the patch. Ascendance will become a 2-minute cooldown. That is very big. They're changing some things like Arc Discharge will work differently. Supercharge Refund will be a bit lower. And you get an extra talent point. And there's also a few more talents in the tree that you might take. Additionally, they're buffing totemic a lot. There might be a viable totemic build. I don't have much to say at this point. When it comes out, I'll post some more videos. Also, one more thing, if you're in a key with an Org Evoker, tell them to go Timelessness. You will have threat issues.